Well, hello and welcome to a special Gone to the Dogs. I think we're going to call this a review and preview major open race action over last weekend. And gentlemen, as I introduced Joe Keneally and Graham Banks of Greyhound Racing UK, Greyhound News UK, and of course Gone to the Dogs in terms of what Joe does, then it is a very busy time of the year, and albeit we've got to keep one eye on the weather, although conditions were relatively cool at Monmore on Saturday, Joe.
Yeah, they were. Obviously, it was a great night of racing. Again, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad my host is back to do this, so we can get back to the tipping side and the review side. But yeah, it was a brilliant night, and two fantastic competitions. They are two of the highlights of the calendar. We know that. We've had a massive highlight a couple of weeks before at Hove, and this starts again the week after. And probably saw a couple of tired performances over sixpence maybe out of Hove that have come to Monmore, but nevertheless we've had two brilliant competitions starting with some great winners, and yeah, it's all heating up for the semi-finals this week, and three really good semi-finals in each competition. You're on mute, Hobbsy. We got you on mute.
I told you I'm out of practice. We're Let's get into the nitty gritty then. So, in terms of impressive performances, where do you want to start, Graham? Who caught your eye?
Probably from a biased point of view, Hobbsy, Gary the Yard for myself. On our preview show on Thursday, I put up Gary the Yard at 16 to 1. And we kind of said that he's a bit of a hit and miss trapper at the moment. If he was to produce one of his Romford breaks on Saturday night, he'd take all the beating. And that's what he produced. He was out and gone 12:40 sectional. It's only, I think, only Antia Kestrel done a quicker sectional on Saturday night. He was out and gone, and he was just so impressive on the eye, winning by 4 lengths in a pretty tough field, to be fair. The likes of Seal on Molly, Droopy's Book, and Clone the Rice and behind. That sort of performance puts his stamp on the competition, and he can go a long way.
37.66. I think it was up there with one of the fastest times. New Destiny was slightly quicker, in fact, just one spot quicker. And look, we can go from reviewing to previewing here because Gary the Arb is in trap one in the first semi-final on Saturday with New Destiny right next door. You happy with that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, if he produces the same break again on sectionals from Saturday, he's 2 lengths in front of New Destiny. So there's only one spot difference between them at the end. Obviously, Gary the Yard was slightly slower than New Destiny, but it should be a great contest if Gary the Yard breaks in the same fashion again as he did on Saturday, and New Destiny repeats her run as well. It's game on. Looks like a fantastic race.
Absolutely, Joe. In terms of let's stick with the Summer Stayers Classic. I mean, there were 12 heats of 6 heats of the Gold Cup, 6 heats of the Summer Stayers Classic. It'll take us an age to go through individually the heats. But I mean, in terms, let's concentrate on the Stayers Classic. Who caught your eye in those 6 Ben races?
We look at the obvious ones: Gary the Arb, New Destiny, Vega. I think Romeo Empire ran a huge race behind New Destiny to get as close as he did, 2 3/4 lengths, and he's got a fantastic makeup on Saturday in the semi-final. And we were saying on the preview, Hobbsy, that track one over that 6:30 it's got to be worth 2 lengths if you can come away from it. Now we've seen Antigua Kestrel with that flying sectional. We saw Gary the Arb with that flying sectional as well, both from track one. It makes a big difference if you can trap and use that to your advantage there. So I thought he was really impressive. Single on Molly ran really well to qualify from Droopy's Book. I'm surprised he got caught as easy as he did. Again, he's been on the go at Newcastle, etc. He missed out, but I thought Deadly Disco, he saves his best for this track, doesn't he? We've seen him win over 6.84. The last dog to beat Monge's Wild, of course, back in February, the Winter Derby night. So he saves his best for this. The track, the trip, and the short run probably wouldn't suit him, but the race kind of played out. Droopy Superstar didn't get off the front. Fabulous Hecker didn't manage to get a run, and New and DJ went a long way clear. But when he turned there, Deadly Disco, he's a very fast dog when he gets it right. And I know you think a lot of him, Hobbsy, as well. You backed him for the Derby, and he didn't go for it in the end. So I was a bit disappointed for you, but yeah, some great performances, and the semi-finals have thrown up some really competitive affairs. So yeah, looking forward to them. Bombay Nutty, a good performance. I'll just we'll give a word for the winners as well. Inca Louie, good winner. New Destiny, Gary the Arb, Deadly Disco, Bluebird as well, who had a real buckle with Droopy's Invent early, who was well fancied. So to see off Bluebird and dead eated with New and Cloud in the end was a good performance from him because he had to work hard to get rid of Droopy's invent, and he looked a tired winner runner, didn't he? Droopy's invent. He of course ran so well in the Regency. Maybe that just took him out of it, and a week on was a bit of a blow for him. And of course, Vega. What's there not to like about her? She's just so good, and she shows that she can do it both ways, and that's a massive weapon to have in your toolbox when you're as good as her and you're competing against the very best.
No, absolutely. I think she was very impressive. It was an interesting race. I thought the New Destiny and Romeo Empire one. You touched upon that. I was massively with Romeo Empire, and no disrespect to New Destiny, she's a champion, isn't she? And she ran fresh and fast as you suspected. But he did stay on very well, and he just got. I don't know whether he just caught for a little bit of toe early doors, or a little bit of a hangover from what was a magnificent race at Hove when you think it was only Monkeys Wild that beat him. I kind of suspect we're going to see better on Saturday. Would you agree or disagree?
I agree, and especially from track one. And he's in a race where I don't think they'd mind if Antigua Kestrel got loose of him and he managed to turn in the position behind Antigua Kestrel. I think he'd probably get to him. He was beat comfortably, Antigua Kestrel, when leading. I know he was beat by Vega, and he'll come on for that, hopefully, because we put him up at 16s. But just that draw, Hobbsy, and with a dog like him who probably isn't the most consistent or has got that flashy break in him, that probably helps him a little bit more being in track one, because he can just hold his line from there. And he's got Air Advocate in two, who will hold to the bend if he comes away. So, look, he's got a perfect draw to work from, but a really good race. Cloner Eyes, Timmy Sunto, we thrown in there at 100 to 1, 125 to 1, managed to qualify. But yeah, the connections will be delighted when they've seen that he got track one, because that is worth so much if you can use it to your advantage, as we said.
Definitely. Right, Graham, let's move on to the Labrooks Gold Cup, 6 heats also, and for Hove trainer Richard Rees, it was a pretty good night overall. We've already spoken about Deadly Disco doing the business, and then he ended up, I think, with a double in the Gold Cup heats as well. So it was a good night for Richard, Charlie, Jackie, and the team.
Yeah, two all-the-way performances as well. Crossfield Enzo, 28-21. I think it was the fastest time of the night by a spot, I think, from Idea of Sam. Show cracking early pace, made all the run-in, as did Avu Zatan. Not quite as quick as early doors as Crossfield Enzo, but 28-37. It's still a lively performance. I'm sure Richard will be delighted with both performances on Saturday.
And who caught your eye in the Gold Cup?
Again, being a biased opinion, Union Rebel, I put up at 12 to 1 on the preview piece. I thought he's such an ideal competition dog. He's been placed in so many competitions before. He's obviously won the Golden Sprint at Romford. I just thought he's an ideal competition dog for Monmore as well. Such good early pace he showed on Saturday. Built up an early lead. I think he did well to hold off Ginger's Prince as well. I think around the third and fourth bends, he was sort of looming large in the sort of the wing mirrors and looking behind, sort of thinking he might go past him, but he just couldn't get past Union Rebel, and he held on well to the line. And I think Kevin Harton's dog can go all the way again this year.
Okay, Union Rebel then, already the Golden Sprint winner this year, and absolutely flying, wasn't disgracing the Pall Mall behind Ginger's Prince, and whom, of course, as you mentioned, Graham, he beat on Saturday, albeit narrowly. It was a great buckle between those two. What about eye catches for you, Joe?
I just really like Droopy the Aladdin. I just like everything about him, and he's a beautiful boy to look at. We've seen him close up, obviously, at Tosa during the derby, and I'd love Mike Burton to win a big competition. He's a great guy, and he's got some very nice dogs. This dog's very, very good. He's getting better, and he's getting a little bit more streetwise, this dog, as well, and just showing the more runs he's had and the more experience that he's got different ways of winning. And when we first seen him, we were there the day he ran at Monmore from 3, and he just absolutely dived left from the boxes, and Droopy's Berries caught him in the end. But he's showing more. He's got more strings to his bow now, and he was very, very good again the other day. Droopy's Aladdin, and the way Jack Tavern Chief won after missing the break was just a sensational performance from him in a good race. Born Racer, the Fair Warrior winner for my boss Carol, managed to qualify. Brindle Bully was a favourite, who we know how good he is. So that's his Achilles heel, Jack Tavern Chief. He's got that missed break in him, and he can't afford to do it, but I think if he can come away 2 runs in a row, he'll win the competition. I think he's that fast, Jack Tavern Chief. But it's a really, really good semi-final lineup, and we always get it. Jack Tavern Chief good win out of Vera Zlatan as Graham said, Union Rebel we've already mentioned, Droopy's Aladdin we've mentioned, and then Ardira Sam, and of course Crossfield Enzo. Crossfield Enzo was in the Pall Mall final. Ardira Sam, a newcomer for Frank Bryce, who's got a really good Irish card, and he's shown at Swindon, 27.90 Swindon. That's not to be sniffed at. That's a serious run if you're breaking 28 seconds there. So a good performance from him. And yeah, we lost Droopy's trade. He'll come on for that. And there's definitely a big competition in him, no doubt about that. But he maybe just that lack of a run, Hobbs, just maybe caught him out a little bit. But yeah, a little bit disappointing from him. But yeah, 6 brilliant winners. And I just think if he can come away Jack Tavern Chief, then I think he takes all the beating. He's got a really good makeup on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I think going back to Droopy's trade, it was probably, and I'm talking through my pocket here, on a pretty good night overall. I think for a lot of us, that was probably the one disappointment for me. I got that completely wrong. So yeah, look, I think what you said about Droopy's Aladdin, he almost has become a more, I don't know if rounded is the right word really. I mean, it was a very brutally and blisteringly fast ground when we saw him at Monmore diving for the rails. He became, I think you just said, more streetwise during the derby. He's become, I think, stronger. Yeah. I don't think Droopy's Aladdin of a few months back would have won that race on Saturday where he was. So on the basis that he could and can come away a lot better, yeah, I mean, he's got to be a big player, albeit that first semi-final on Saturday is fantastic. Zlatan, terrific early pace, Graham's Union Rebel in trap 5, terrific early pace. I mean, that dash to the bend's going to be something else. The one I kind of like and absolutely get what you say about Jack Tavern Chief, because having been at Newcastle that night, it was one of the best performances. I think it happened to be my nap, so I was so doubly delighted with it. But I thought Brindle Bully ran a really good race behind him. He didn't really get any sort of run to finish second as he did, given that Jack Tavern is so strong. I thought if he could get first run on him at the weekend, he might just reverse the form. But I think that's a really good 3 semi-finals of the Labrooks Gold Cup and the Labrooks Summer Stayers Classic to come. Look, you've done your previews of it from an anti-post point of view. Anything, finally on Monmore, who wins both competitions? You're going to change your mind? I don't think Graham is, are you, Graham?
No, I'm going to stick with my two. Obviously, definitely Gary the Arb and Union Rebel for me. Still.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Jack Tavern Chief, and I made a point on Thursday, obviously, when we're doing the preview, that maybe sometimes when dogs go from different boxes at Monmore, maybe 6 and 4, and they go into 5, I think 5 is the worst box for that. And they can just miss the break slightly. And Jack Tavern Chief was in 5 and missed the break. Look, Union Rebel's got an unbelievable makeup with Droopy's Aladdin in 4, because we know where he's going to go. And if he comes away, he's going to be there. He's definitely going to be there and probably leading, to be fair, Union Rebel. But I'll stick with Jack Tavern Chief in the Gold Cup. I think that if he can just keep coming away, then yeah, I'll be with him. And Vega's got a perfect draw. Swift Jarvis in 1, Amazing Zeus in 2. If that was over 6.84, she's 4 on, because she's going to definitely lead into the corner. Just that short run to the bend, as long as she comes away, she'll clear them and she should make the final. But I think Romeo Empire's got a brilliant makeup in the second semi-final. So if I was going to swing me bat anywhere, I'd go with Romeo Empire in the second semi-final to go on and win the competition if he can get a good draw in the final, if he qualifies from Saturday.
Okay, it's I think preview time to come later in the week. I think for both competitions and the semi-finals. But you guys are going to cost me a few quid, because I was thinking, right, if they ask me what I'm going to go for, I'm going to go Romeo Empire in the Summer Stayers Classic, and I'm going to go Brindle Bully now in the Gold Cup. Just both of them in terms of potential each way double or something like that. So you guys are costing me, I know that. Do we just want to quickly round up Saturday? Certainly in the UK, of course, Clonbrine Treaty in the Limerick final, the historic third victory didn't quite happen, but well done to Drombeg Banner and Evan McAuliffe for what was a very popular win, it seems anyway, for the young man. So well done to him. But in terms of the British bred Oaks at is it the British bred Oaks at Oxford? Kevin Hutton flying.
Yeah, he's got that place is just a cash machine for Kevin Hutton, isn't it? On a Saturday night with the open race in there, and when you've got brilliant dogs as he has, he's always going to go on to do well. Dreaming Francis, good winner, 27-29. Ivy Showgirl, for Dalton Smith, the only outside trainer to qualify. Kevin with 5 in the final, with Union Piper, and then Silent Naylor, Kopislotti, Miss Kubalek. So he's in a very good position. Silent Naylor 26.63, a fantastic run to come get off the front and do that. So takes all the beating if can come away in the final. But yeah, it reminds me of, going back years when like Chris Allsop managed to win the Trainers' Championship. It was Coventry on a Sunday night was a massive part of his point scoring. Just some little opens that he just picked up, maybe 3, 4, 5 a night, whatever it was. Kevin does that here. He hasn't got the ammo to go and win a Trainers' Championship, but he's always going to be there or thereabouts around the top 6 because of the points and the competitions he can pick up at Oxford on a Saturday. And you've probably got no reason to go anywhere else, Hobbsy, when you're doing that, and your dogs are comfortable somewhere. Why would you take them elsewhere when you probably are they the level of maybe a New Destiny or a Jack Tavern Chief, who Kevin trained, of course, for the early part of his career. But yeah, he just picks up plenty of points around there, and you can just see him being around that top 6 again, purely on the fact that he just wins so many races around there.
And, obviously Union Rebel running well for him at Monmouth. I think he's got a nice youngster running in the Puppy Classic at Nottingham tonight. But absolutely, it's very much a staple for him. His home track at Oxford. King Memphis back on the winning trail at Hove when we were there last week. It's followed up at Central Park, so he's going great guns. And the only other thing to mention on Saturday, and was that incredible trial of Romeo Steele. Now, we've always said he's one of the fastest runners that we've got in training, but 27 dead, I mean, that was just quite extraordinary, is it? It's over like 2.5 lengths quicker than the track record. I mean, amazing, really, run, and very much an eye catcher. I know we got that out on the website yesterday, so that was too good a miss. So we're building up nicely for the competitions, I think, to come. Any quick word on those guys, Graham?
I just wanted to mention Aiken Felix as well. Obviously, a length outside the track record at Doncaster on Saturday night as well. His own track record. He's flying for Kevin Ferguson this year. I think he's won something stupid like 15 out of 18 races or something like that this year. And he's absolutely flying. And I'm surprised he hasn't gone for one of the bigger competitions like the Gold Cup, maybe. But yeah, he's running really well for Kevin Ferguson, and all credit to him.
I think definitely. I'm sure, Joe, you would agree. I think definitely a call from Graham into Kevin Ferguson and getting the load down on those incredible litter mates that he's got, because they have been quite extraordinary, I think, in many ways. The amount of races that they have won and keep on winning, I think, is great. So there you go. That's another one to add to the list there, Graham, I reckon. What do you reckon, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Young man working.
Just on him, he's 9 in a row. But when you think about what he's doing 450 Doncaster, 500 Nottingham, 500 Sheffield, 480 Sheffield, and 400 metres at Romford and went and won as well. So, he's mixing up the tracks and the trips that he runs over. He can win over 400 metres. He'd win a sprint at Nottingham and over 305 Sheffield, easy, stand on his head. 500 metres, big test for him. So, in terms of what he does and the versatility that the dog's got, it's an incredible training fee, I must say. And look, as you say, it's a great litter, and he's just been a brilliant ground. He really has. So yeah, it's something to celebrate, and let's hope he can make it 10 out of 10 next time he runs.
And it has been interesting to see him, and the way he's using isn't the right word, but he's getting involved in Sheffield more. He's got obviously a contract there, so a lot of the Aiken prefix runners have been running there when they're coming back from spells off, getting them kind of ready and race fit for the open race action to come, and he's picking up graded victories as well. So I think really across the board, what he's doing with those homebreds is quite stunning. So well done to him. Right, we better move on to the action at Nottingham tonight. It is the heats of the Arena Racing Company Puppy Classic. Just 4 heats, but they use quality, and I think we're set for what will be 2 great semi-finals and a final to come as well in that race to succeed March on Freddie, who was a pretty good winner of the Puppy Classic last year. Quick thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, look, it's Patrick Jansen's probably already got one hand on the trophy, if we're being blatantly honest. Romeo Alliance, Romeo Ability, he's got Not So Steady, all up there at the top of the market. Romeo Alliance, of course, is your favourite 2-1 favourite. Cranky Drake, who ran a huge race behind him for Kevin Hurd last week. I'll put it in me writing, Hobbsy, that it looks a night for short price favourites, and they should all win. To be fair, Romeo Alliance, Romeo Ability, Cranky Dre, Not So Steady. They should all win their heats, but always good competition. And look, there's a lot to after last year's winner and what he went on to do, March on Freddie. There's probably be a bit of pressure on it, but I think Romeo Alliance is a Derby dog for next year. He's around 40-1, and I wouldn't put anyone off that if people do play early. That could be 10, 14, 16-1 in a couple of months' time for the Derby. So he's a fantastic ground, Romeo Alliance, and he looks perfect for this competition. I think Not So Steady at 8-1 though. Anti-Post looks a big price because you're getting 2-1 for the first four, and when you take out the first four in the competition, Hobbsy, they are a lot better than the rest. That's no disrespect to the rest. They are just probably a couple of levels above the rest. So 8-1 for Not So Steady looks a big price for me.
Okay, the four favourites, I think Joe's right. They pick themselves in many ways. Graham, is there any other pups in there that we should be keeping an eye on, do you think?
Probably Droopy's all the way. I think in the second heat up against Romeo Ability. It's only had 3 runs with the 1 win so far, but it's been off since June. Did a 29.40, I think, on debut at Hove back in, I think, March or April this year, and it's been off for a couple of months now. But did a 30.21 last week. I think if you do a 29.40 at Hove, you're capable of breaking like a 30 sort of second barrier at Nottingham, and I think he can very much improve on his trial from last week. 30.21. He's got a decent draw tonight behind Too Much Chattens and Ottoman. If he shows up early doors, could turn in a handy position. I think he could be quite dangerous tonight.
Interesting. Okay. Supporting card wise, in terms of 1 or 2 eye catchers, anything there, Joe?
Yeah, there's 2 heats of the dual distance 6 Bend Trophy, which is good because you've got obviously the final next week is going to be over 7:30, and then we've got the select stayers the following week over that trip as well. So yeah, Aero Honey's an interesting runner for Richie Taberner on UK debut. Should really win. Has found herself in a decent enough race, and then I think Born a Parachute wins. Vale Bluebell's in fantastic form, and again we mentioned it in our preview tonight, but now trained by Craig Morris, which I thought was interesting. Was with David Mullins, of course. 4-dog race and should really get off the front. Born a Parachute. If he does, then he'll win. Vale Bluebell, she's in great form, of course. Won last year's Select Stayers. Vale Bluebell, so I'm guessing Connections will be wanting to try and defend that crown if they can. But yeah, they're interesting runners there, and it's always brilliant to have a full open card on a Monday. This is what we used to have, obviously. 10 to 12 opens at Nottingham on a Monday, and it was part of everyone's week, weren't it? And part of everyone's routine that right Monday we're going Nottingham, and then Tuesday there was opens every night at that stage. But yeah, they're the 2, and a decent 480 race as well. Droopy's Noel Shadow, sorry. Interesting runner for Jerry, stepping up in trip now to 480, having been running over 305 and was behind Stone Park Hoffer last week. So that's no disgrace at all. So interesting stepping up in trip now. But yeah, good card tonight, good action. I'll have to catch it after. We got a game tonight, so I'm going to have to catch all the action after our game. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what goes on tonight.
Exactly, and I think from a Greyhound News UK point of view, Graham, the trials before racing will be interesting. I know that Joe just mentioned Craig Morris taking in Born a Parachute. Of course, relatively recently, he took in Chelm's Bear, Barntic Bear. And I think the Select Stakes has been suggested as a target for Chelm's Bear. He was second in the Select Stakes last year. So I think he's trialling. But a certain Droopy's Plunge is trialling as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he trialled last week. I think it was at 29.30 something trial last week. Be interesting to see what time Chelm's Bear produces tonight as well. It's a track that probably should suit him as well. It's a big galloping track. He likes that sort of track really to produce his best runs. So be interesting to see how the 2 get on tonight, comparable with the times for each other.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Graham. Thanks, Joe. I think we've certainly covered quite a bit there. And a reminder that later in the week, the guys, might be me, might be Joe, might be Graham, whatever, we'll be looking ahead at the major open race action of the weekend. Chaps, you happy?
All
Very
good. Very good. Good to have you back, Hobbsy.
Nice one. Good luck tonight, Joe.
Thank you, sir.